We have, at the start of Zeta Talk, explained that the wealthy elite anticipated being able to escape the Earth during the pole shift. This was due to promises made by service-to-self aliens who were in contact with the wealthy elite via MJ-12, the Nexus. The wealthy elite were early drawn into MJ-12 because of the need to control the media during a cover-up on the alien presence. Once the word was out about the coming pole shift in these lofty circles, word spread. The mega wealthy form a club and consider themselves above the rest of humanity, not unlike royalty in this regard. In that the Nexus was MJ-12, the information and plans included those in political power. Thus, government services were considered essentially the property of the wealthy elite. It was, in those days, what are we going to do about our safety, with the assumption that the US taxpayer would foot the bill for all plans. Thus, NASA went to the moon, ran probes to Mars, collaborated with Russia on the space station, and all under the banner of exploration and education for mankind in general. Alternative 3 was focused on underground enclaves for survival too, Mount Weather the most notorious. When the Earth changes began in earnest, creating a steady uptick in quakes and volcanic activity, a discernible earth wobble, and weather extremes with intractable drought and deluge and punishing storms, those smugly assuming they had an escape put the matter to a test. Teams were sent to live in many of the bunkers and not allowed out for weeks at a time. They died in droves of emissions akin to radon that the rock, under pressure during the daily talk, the Earth is experiencing as Planet X tugs at its poles in the highly magnetized Atlantic Rift. The anticipation of using these enclaves gone. Simultaneously, those members of the elite who were in contact with service-to-self aliens called in their cards. They were promised an escape to enclaves on Mars and the dark side of the moon, and wanted this exodus to safety started now, please. In that the service-to-self lie, and wanted a rich harvest of souls in the service-to-self among their contacts on Earth. The elite had been played for fools. They were first elevated to think of themselves as separate and above those they were leaving behind, discarding empathy. Now they were to be dashed into hopelessness, the optimum fear that their situation could engender, crystallizing their self-focus in their acute fear. No lift to Mars or the moon or assisted living would happen. Where does this leave the elite today? Can they dash to the moon and Mars using NASA, when funding is being cut in an era when the dash into space conflicts with the war in Iraq for funding? The plans never included a need to actually boost man into space, into enclaves on the moon or Mars, as it was assumed a lift and assisted living would be provided. The plans only included a show for the common man who was then to assume, when the elite returned, that they had managed this on their own, were technologically superior. The elite were thus to be elevated to the level of gods upon their return to an Earth where survivors were scratching around in the dirt like cavemen, devastated by the pole shift. That was the plan. Privatize. This effort has suddenly burst into the news. Commercial activity to be encouraged on the moon. Commercial endeavors in space, with the question left begging, why has this not happened before? Why now? None of this will succeed, of course, as the continuing disasters on the space station and with the shuttle program make clear. Enclaves on the surface of the Earth will likewise not be secure, a fact the elite are discomfited by, and they are casting about for a solution. Hired guards have questionable loyalty when there are no forces to keep them in line. The mindset of those hired to guard the elite will turn from a purchase loyalty to takeover plans. Why should the guards not be king? In that the elite are aware of Zeta talk and stay abreast of new Zeta talk regularly. They are aware of our advice to the common man that love will be the commodity of the future. Those in the service to other will receive technological assistance from benign aliens, will be offered the lift during the hour of the shift, will encounter and communicate with benign aliens, will meet their loved ones on spaceships when communications on Earth become impossible, and will live in communities where looting Mad Max gangs are non-existent. In all our descriptions of these service to other communities, there is no requirement that one shed all their wealth, so a stratification of living circumstances seems possible to those in the wealthy elite wanting to be converts. The rule is to care for others, 50-50, as much as the self, to practice the golden rule. Thus, handouts of excess wealth, paper money, which will soon be worthless in any case, seems a good start. They are trying to buy in